Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Coffee here, and today we are doing a whip and chat. Whip stands for work in progress, so get out whatever that is for you. Work along with me as I tell you some stories from the Coffeehouse shenanigans. Now, I hope you guys had a wonderful, safe weekend. I know I did. It started off a little crazy. Let's talk about it. So Friday afternoon, or Friday evening before I went live, I asked Mr. Coffee if he was going to be okay because he seemed a little tired when he was eating dinner. Now, I know not to ask Mr. Coffee if he's tired because if you ask him, for some reason, this enrages him. I don't know why being tired is like the worst thing in his life, but if you ask him if he's tired, he kind of cops attitude. And then I had to remind him who he's talking to. And I'm like, don't be copping no attitude with me because I ask you if you're tired. Like, he hates being tired. If there's one thing in being an adult that Mr. Coffee wishes he didn't have to do, it would be going to sleep because he hates it. Literally, like, he's the only person I know that hates sleep. So, like, he's like, no, I'm fine. I'm not tired, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, okay, whatever. So that's one of the reasons why, and live, you didn't hear the didgeridoo, was because he fell asleep because he was tired. So like I tried to wake him up after live. He wouldn't wake up. So I just kind of threw a blanket over him and I went to bed because I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. The thing, his rule right now is if he falls asleep on the couch and it's the weekend, that's where he stays. I'm not waking him up. It's a whole battle trying to wake up Mr. Coffee. And I'm not doing it. A lot of the time I just don't have the energy to do it. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. So he slept on the couch and he said, you know, earlier that evening that he was going to take care of stuff this weekend because I wasn't feeling well. So I told him I was going to sleep in on Saturday. Well, I start hearing a bunch of commotion Saturday morning. And so I get up and I'm thinking, okay, well, what's going on in my house? Why am I hearing all this noise? I go downstairs and I see the dogs running through the house. I see a ferret jump out from underneath the couch with like what looked like a shoelace or something. Mr. Coffee is chasing Killian because Killian has a hold of something in his mouth. Don't worry, it wasn't a ferret. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Meanwhile, Maggie's sitting on the couch laughing because the dogs are running through the house. The dogs are playing with a toy, I guess. They were playing with like a tug rope. And Mr. Coffee was chasing Killian around because he was trying to get the rope from Killian because he was playing with the dogs. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was playing with the dogs. I'm like, okay. Why are the ferrets out? Now, the ferrets don't typically come out until everybody is awake in the house because just for safety reasons, I like to make sure everybody's awake so you don't accidentally like step on one of them or something and everybody is aware that they're out. And he's like, well, they looked all cute in their cage, so I wanted to let them out. I'm like, well, then whose shoelace do they have? Here, they done pulled the shoelace out of Maggie's boot and was running around with it and trying to stash it somewhere. And I'm like, at some point, we need to get underneath this couch and see what all is in their stash. Now, it's been probably a month since we've gone under the couch to see what's in their stash. So I'm like, we need to get underneath this couch. And he's like, you want to do it now? No. I don't feel good. I'm not doing nothing. So I sat on the couch and I pretty much diamond painted I pretty much crocheted all day Saturday because I decided Saturday was going to be the crochet day. I was going to crochet all day Saturday. And since Mr. Coffee had already had dinner planned out and everything else, I'm like, I get to relax all day. I'm going to crochet all day. I got to the halfway point, officially the halfway point of the blanket. So I was like, yay. I'm halfway through the design on the blanket. And so I should probably get back to work on it today, but I was drawing something that I kind of want to get back to, so I might do that. And it's funny, too, because I was going to sit down and draw today for my whip and chat, and I got too scared. I'm really nervous about drawing on the channel. Now, I don't mind drawing for Patreons because only they can see it, but when it comes to the channel, lots of people can see that. And I'm like, my artwork isn't really good enough to, like, be seen on my channel, so I kind of keep it, like, to myself. I'm really finicky about it, so, like, I don't know. It's weird. Anyways. But yeah, so Saturday I essentially diamond paint or crocheted all day. I haven't touched my diamond painting. I touched it a little bit yesterday, and of course I'm working on it now, but I didn't touch it a whole lot this weekend, just again because it was sitting back here and I didn't want to sit back here. So I just sat up front with Mr. Coffee and watched him play games until he got up to go do stuff. He went out to the store at one point. And I just kind of sat on the couch all weekend. Like, that was typically, I'm like up doing something. There's always something that needs to be done. But this weekend, Mr. Coffee was like, no, I got you. You just sit back. I got this. Now, Mr. Coffee isn't used to taking the reins of the house, so he didn't realize what he was getting himself into. But he realized real quick, fast, and in a hurry what he was getting himself into. And it was like every 2 seconds, he was asking me like where something went or where something was supposed to go or where something was. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm walking him through my everyday steps. And he goes, okay, so I walked the dogs. And I fed the ferrets, and I'm like, you got to clean out the ferret cage. You got to, because with the ferret cages, you have to clean the litter boxes. Like, we clean them 2 to 3 times a day, just because it helps reduce the smell of the ferrets. So cleaning them, usually it's like 2 times a day, 3 if it gets really bad, which usually is, like I said, it's just 2. And I was like, okay. He goes to sit down. I'm like, did everybody get their medicine? He goes, oh, crap. I knew there was something. But for some reason, Mr. Coffee, no matter what is going on, he always forgets to give people their medicine. So I was like, you can't be doing that. Like, the only person he remembers to give their medicine is Maggie. But he forgets that, like, Killian is supposed to get meds. He's supposed to take his meds. I'm supposed to take meds. And usually we'll set out the kids' medicine when we get up, just so that when they finish breakfast, they can take their meds. Sorry, getting that all straightened out. There we go. So he forgot to give Killian his meds. Now, giving Killian his meds is an art in itself, okay? Because you can't just, give him medicine. Nay. Like most dogs, Killian is not about that life. Which, thinking about it, I gotta get Daisy into the vet because she's due for a shot herself. I just gotta figure out which vet I want to take her to. If I want to take her to the new vet or if I'm going to keep her at the old vet. Doesn't really make any sense to keep her at the old vet when all the other pets go to the new vet, so I don't know. Anyways, but Killian isn't like a normal, whatever. He's not going to just sit there and let you give him medicine. No. His medicine are pills, so you have to like hide it in some kind of food. The problem is if you hide it in a hot dog, he'll just chew around the pill and then spit the pill out. If we put it in a piece of bologna, same thing. If we put it in peanut butter really, really upsets his stomach, so we tend not to put it in peanut butter. So we have what we call the squeeze cheese, which is canned cheese. So he gets like, what is it, Cheese Whiz or something? He gets like a spoonful of Cheese Whiz, and then we stuff his pills into it so he can't see them. And that's how you give Killian his pills. But this is an art in itself because he's not going to just eat it because it's cheese. He knows what's in it. So what you have to do is you have to sneak up on him, get him right next to you, kind of put your finger on the side of his mouth so he opens his mouth, and then you just kind of like scoop the cheese into his mouth. Mr. Coffee didn't know this. Mr. Coffee goes to give him the medicine. Killian just licks the cheese off the spoon with the pills and stuff, and it just lands on the floor. Then he just licks all the cheese off of it and walks away. He goes, okay, I gave Killian his meds. I look in the kitchen on the floor, and I'm like, then what's on the floor? Here, again, like I said, he done spit the pills out. And Mr. Coffee's like, oh, God dang it. Well, then here comes Greedy Gumball. Greedy Gumball is going over to the pills, trying to steal the pills, because apparently he done ate all the dog food. So now, like, he's moving on to whatever this is on the floor. So we have to take and get the pill from the ferret. And so the ferret starts running from Mr. Coffee. And I'm like, why are you running after a ferret? One. And he's like, it has the pills. And I'm like, okay, he has a fish oil pill. I don't think he's going to eat that. Just a wild gander. Don't think he's going to eat it. Yeah, you need to get it away from him. But I don't think he's going to eat it. So I'm like, you don't need to chase him. Because, ferrets are small. So if you try to chase them, they will go hide. And you don't want him to hide with the pill. So I'm like, stop chasing him. I'm like, just walk calmly behind him or sit on the floor and call him and he will come to you. And sure enough, he sits down and he's like, come here, Gumball. Gumball. And Gumball looks at him, which Gumball is my male ferret. Gumball looks at him and goes running straight towards him. He gets the pill. Everything is fine. Problem is, then as he's like coaxing Gumball to him, Anais, our thief, has now taken a pill and she runs off. And he's like, oh no, Anna. And I was like, got her. So, like, as she comes running towards the couch, because what Anna will do, Anna will grab something, and then she full force runs towards the couch, because what she does is she goes under the couch to go stash it. The problem is she had to run past me to get to the, underneath the couch, so I just scooped her up right as she got to the couch, and I was like, aha, gotcha, got the pill from her. I'm like, now get the rest of the pills off the floor. So he goes and gets the rest of the pills off the floor, puts them on the counter. He goes, what do I do? I'm like, you give them to Killian. So I walk into the kitchen. I put the pills on a spoon. I cover the pills with cheese. And then I go over to Killian and I just kind of stick my pinky in the side of his mouth. And I was like, come here, dude. I stick my pinky in the side of his mouth, gets him to open his mouth, and I give him his pills. And I'm like, and that is how you give Killian his pills. And he's like, you have to stick your finger in his mouth? I'm like, yeah. How do you think you're going to get his mouth open? He's not a kid. You can't just be like, hey, open your mouth so I can give you these pills. No. He already just doesn't want to take them. So you have to, you have to stick your pinky inside of his. He's like, what if he bites you? It's Killian. Killian's not biting anyone. Like, seriously. Like, it's Killian. So, I give Killian his meds. He goes and sits down. Well, then Maggie comes downstairs and she asks, can she go outside and play? And we were like, yeah, go ahead and go outside and play. She goes outside and plays pretty much for the entire day. She comes back in for lunch. And then she came back in for dinner. When it was dinner time, right before dinner, she went and got a shower and stuff. Gets dressed, comes downstairs. And she's like, Mommy, my sink's leaking. What do you mean your sink's leaking? She goes, my sink's leaking. I'm like, what is it leaking? And she goes, water. What else would it leak? And I'm like, I don't know, Kool-Aid? Why is it leaking water? And she goes, I don't know. I just heard it dripping. And I was like, okay. So I was like, Mr. Coffee, can you go check up on the leak underneath Maggie's sink in her bathroom? He goes in her room, checks for the leak, no leak. And he's like, Tootsie, there's no leak. And she goes, but I heard it. And I'm like, are you sure you heard the leak from the sink? She was hearing the water drop in the shower, like she didn't turn the shower all the way off and it was dripping, and for some reason she thought it was a leak under her sink. And I was like, no, Tootsie, you just gotta turn the water all the way off. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, you're fine. Well, then comes time for the kids to go to bed. They come down, they say goodnight. Maybe 10 minutes after Maggie goes lay down, she comes back, Mommy, I'm scared. I'm like, what are you scared of, Toots? The monsters. Maggie, you are 9 years old, chick. What monsters? You're the only monster in your room. You're the scariest thing in your room. And she's like, no, I'm not. The monster that's behind the couch in my room. I'm like, so you don't even have a couch in your room. What are you talking about? This is how Maggie tries to stay up, is by telling you that, she has monsters in her room. She doesn't realize that she's the scariest monster in her room. So she doesn't have monsters in her room. But she will tell you all day that, yes, there are monsters in her room. And I'm like, Maggie, there's no monsters. I kind of feel like she's Chris Griffith from Family Guy with the evil monkey in his closet. Except for she has too many clothes in her closet for an evil monkey. She just has regular monsters that sit behind a couch that she magically has in her room. Which, just a heads up, she has no couch in her room. So I'm just like, all right, well, Mr. Coffee, do you want to go check that out? And he goes, all right, I'm on it. He gets up. He goes to her room. And all I hear goes, oh my God, it's a monster. And Maggie starts screaming. She comes running down the stairs. Orion gets up. Orion has a shoe in his hand. Like, I don't know what was going on or going through Orion's head. He wasn't asleep yet. But Orion was like, whatever this is that's in this house, he's about to beat to death with this Timberland boot, okay? So he comes out of his room in his little Minecraft onesie with this boot. And he's like, where is it? Where is it? I'll beat it. And I'm like, Orion, go back to bed. Your dad's just messing with your sister. And I'm like, Mr. Coffee. I'm like, that is not how you get the kids to go to sleep. Problem is, Mr. Coffee's too busy trying to play with the kids when it's time for bed rather than getting them to settle down. So, like, he got her all jostled up and scared now, and she didn't want to go to sleep. So I had to sit in there with her for a few minutes and explain to her that monsters are not real. There's nothing in your room. Nothing's coming to get you. I'm like, this is a great opportunity. So I was like, this is why I tell you to keep your room clean, because if you keep your room clean, the monsters can't come. They have nowhere to hide if all your stuff is up off the floor, right? And she's like, that's right. Y'all, her room's been clean all weekend. Like, she cleaned her room Thursday, or I cleaned her room Thursday, and it's been clean all weekend. It's still clean, because I just told her, hey, yeah, the monsters won't come get you if you keep your room clean. Boom. It worked. Kudos to me. Mom points. All right, sorry about that. Daisy decided to come over and come talk to me for a second, I guess. I don't know. She's weird like that. She's been following me around everywhere. And Mr. Coffee's like, well, maybe it's because you don't feel good. I'm like, maybe. And then somebody else in my comments was like, maybe she knows you don't feel good. Maybe. Usually Daisy just follows me around anyways. And it makes Mr. Coffee mad because when we go to bed, the dogs, like, sleep in our room. So Mr. Coffee will tell them, it's time for bed. Come upstairs, and they won't move. But then the moment I move to go upstairs, both dogs will get up and go upstairs. And he goes, why do they do that for you and not me? because you don't need protection. I do. He's like, well, why do you need protection? Because they're trying to protect the person that's coming into the house from me. Okay. So, yeah, they know who feeds them. Okay. Even though Orion's the one that feeds them. And what I've started doing is whenever Orion forgets to feed them, like I'll call him on the echo up in his room, because that's the new age way of yelling upstairs to your kids, is I just call them on the echo. And I'm like, Orion, for 10 cents a day, you too can help a starving dog in the house get some food. And he's like, do I get 10 cents? No, I give you 2 cents. Get your butt downstairs and come feed my goddamn own dogs. So yeah. So essentially, like I said, I spent most of the weekend just sitting on the couch chilling. I got some new Scentsy stuff in that I wanted to try out. And so I'm sitting here, right? And I get a big box from Scentsy this weekend. And Mr. Coffee's like, what did you order now? I'm like, I got a bunch of stuff. Now, because I sell it, I want to make sure that I've used almost everything on there so that if people have questions, I at least know how to answer them. So I got this stuff called Scentsy Soak. It's like Epsom salt and Himalayan salt and whatever kind of salt. And I don't take baths, okay? Like I can't. Do y'all take baths? Because I can't do it. I can't. I don't know why. I'm an adult and I don't like taking baths. I will shower all day, but I'm not taking no bath. So I was like, well, I have a foot tub I can use it in. I'm going to try to use it in the foot tub, y'all. Look, listen. I was in heaven. I was like, oh my God, this feels so good. And then Mr. Coffee sees me over there, and I guess he saw me over there like, I'm guessing in his head he's picturing me like a child on a playground just having so much fun. And he sees all the bubbles and everything, and he's like, can I try it? Yo, why did I have my husband soaking his feet in Scentsy Soak? And I'm like, now your feet smells like shimmering something. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like shimmering something. It was something I got off clearance. They had a big clearance sale like a week or so ago. And so my clearance items came in Saturday. And he's like, can I try it? And I'm like, all right. Y'all, he absolutely loved it. He done stole the foot tub, and every night since Saturday, he's been soaking his feet. And I'm like, that's great, though, because with him working as many hours as he does a day, it really helps his feet. And he even said that he felt a lot better when he went to work yesterday, which was Monday. He felt a lot better when he went to work, like his feet didn't hurt like they normally do. So I was like, yeah. He goes, so I'm going to need you to keep getting this stuff. Do they have it in man scents? And I'm like, I don't know what a man scent is, but sure, I guess. So now I have to get him some Scentsy Soak in man scent because he likes the Scentsy Soak. And I'm like, well, at least you like it. Like, but like I have to hide it from him though, because he be trying to do it all the time. And I'm like, no, you can't have this. You're using up all my stuff. Like I buy this stuff for me and he ends up using it more than I do. Mostly because if he likes something that I get, he will use it more than I do. So like, yeah, I'm pretty sure over half my bag of Scentsy Soak is already gone because he's been using it every night since I got it in on Saturday. So yeah, and he's like, feel how soft my feet, like he keeps going around the house asking everybody to feel how soft his feet are. And I'm like, nobody wants to touch your crusty feet. I hate feet, y'all. I hate them so much. So yeah, so there was that. Orion, this poor kid, he keeps sabotaging himself. Why can't I get wax to come out of my pen? I'm going to put some more wax in my pen. For some reason, I think this pen takes a little bit more wax than usual. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because I've been using it so much. But we're going to add some more wax to the pen, or the multi-placer. So, yeah, I'm still testing out this 15-placer from Everlasting Tips, and I really, really, really like it. I like it better than any other metal tip that I've used. I don't like the metal single placers because it's hard to get the wax out. I don't like the smaller multi-placers that are metal. I can't get down with them. But this one I can get down with. And I think it's just because it's a 15-placer. And I know I can push my drills around and everything else, and it's not going to break. The sad part is I bought 40 15-placers before I got this in. So now I'm mad that I have all these 15-placers, and I'm never going to break this one. So I'm like, well, crap. Now I got all those 15-placers for nothing. But I didn't get them for nothing. I will use them in other pens. So there's, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, so it was a pretty relaxing weekend. Sunday came and Mr. Coffee decided that he was going to do laundry. Now, I don't know what's been going on with Mr. Coffee lately, but he's been extremely helpful and I'm getting scared. And he decided he was going to do laundry. And he's like, I don't know if he was having a bad day or what, but he was like so irritated. Okay, so Sundays, how this goes is when we wake up, everybody wakes up, they get a shower, they get all their laundry together for the week. The kids clean their rooms, gather up all the laundry, put it in their laundry basket, come downstairs for breakfast with their laundry basket and take the laundry basket to the laundry room. Then usually I would go in and start laundry after everybody's came down. Well, Mr. Coffee decides he's going to do it this week. So Maggie brings out her laundry basket and he's like, how? How? I'm like, how what? He goes, how does she have this many clothes? She has one tiny body. How does she have this many clothes? I'm like, because Maggie likes to switch clothes up on you. Like Maggie will wake up and put on one outfit, and by the time she goes to bed, Maggie would have worn 4 different outfits. Does somebody else's kid do this? Please tell me this is normal, because I've never seen a child change clothes so many times in my entire life. Now, I noticed that she's doing it, and I've asked her to stop doing it, because I'm like, why are you doing that? And she'll be like, oh, well, I got a stain on this shirt, so I put it in the laundry, because I didn't want to walk around with a stain on my shirt. Or, I just didn't like that outfit, so I just changed to something else. And I'm like, you're sitting in the house. It's not like even like you're going anywhere. You're sitting in the house. Why are you trying to change clothes? And so her laundry basket was like full of clothes. And he's like, I don't understand how she has this many clothes. And I'm like, it's Maggie. She likes to change clothes. And then it comes to Orion's clothes. And he's like, what? Okay, I have questions. And I'm like, questions about what? He's just going on and on about how hard it is to do laundry all of a sudden. He's just like, well, you got Maggie with a laundry basket full of clothes. That's at least 2 loads of clothes that she has brought down. Meanwhile, Ryan's laundry basket is half full. And he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, that's because Maggie changes clothes often. Orion changes clothes once a day when he wakes up. That's it. Maggie will change clothes 4 or 5 times. And he goes, and what is happening to our son when he takes his clothes off? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, why are all his clothes inside out? I'm like, because when he takes them off and they're inside out. He goes, he doesn't try to fix them. I'm like, probably not. And he's like, I have a question. I have to ask him. I'm like, ask him what? So he calls Orion downstairs and he goes, dude, what is happening to you? And Orion's looking hella confused. He's like, what? He goes, what kind of forceful activity are you doing when you take your clothes off that every single bit of your clothes are inside out whenever they come downstairs? And he's like, I don't know. I just take my clothes off. And Mr. Coffee was just like, I don't get how you can take your clothes off, but yet all of your clothes are inside out. I'm like, because think about it. If you're taking your clothes off, and I'm trying to explain to him that when people take their clothes off, they don't take them off the way he does, where he just kind of pulls the back of his shirt up over his head. Orion pulls from the bottom. So when you pull from the bottom, you're flipping your clothes inside out. The problem is Orion doesn't flip them back the right way. And Mr. Coffee's like, okay, I'm going to need you to flip them back the right way because I'm thinking that somebody's, whatever, messing with me because literally all of your clothes are inside out. And he's like, Mom never has a problem with it. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. You just flip them inside out when you put them in the washer. He goes, but I don't understand why all of his clothes are inside out. And I'm like, he's just a kid. That's what they do. Like, it is what it is. The other activity that Mr. Coffee got to do, which he's never done before, is brush the dogs. Usually I'm the one that brushes the dogs. Daisy is easy to brush. Daisy will sit there and let you brush her because to her, she's getting attention and she's getting pets and she's getting love and she loves it because she is an attention whore. Killian, on the other hand, Killian is our struggle, okay? Killian does not like to be brushed. You have to essentially tie him to the gate at the dog park and then brush him. And he's still going to move around. So he takes the dogs outside. He comes back. It looked like it snowed. And I was just like, is it snowing? And he's like, no, this is fur. And I'm like, then why are you in the house? Now you got to re-vacuum the floor. And he's like, oh God. He goes, how do you do all this stuff? And I'm like, do all what stuff? He goes, how do you do all this stuff? Now take it. Mr. Coffee, again, is not used to doing all the stuff that I usually do on the weekends. So he's just like, I don't understand how you can do all this stuff and not be exhausted. I'm like, why do you always think I'm always talking about I'm exhausted? I'm like, you haven't even tried editing a video or dealing with Scentsy stuff while you're doing all this stuff. You're only just doing like the bare minimum. You're not even getting into the nitty gritty of what exactly it is I do. All right, sorry about that. The doctor's office called to make sure that everything was okay. One of the things I like about living where I live is the doctor's offices and stuff. If you have any kind of procedures or any kind of visits to the doctor for something, like I went in for my kidneys, they do follow-ups on you for 2 weeks, meaning they will call you once or twice a week to make sure you're doing okay, make sure you're taking your meds and everything. And the doctor's office was calling to make sure I'm still taking my meds, make sure I don't have any questions or anything, which is great because I completely forgot to take my medicine this morning. As an adult, question of the video: what is the most inconvenient, stupid thing for you? Okay, let me explain. Let me give you an example. Okay, let me help you out. For me, the most inconvenient, stupid thing as an adult for me is remembering to eat breakfast and stuff whenever I have to take medication. So like right now, the medication I'm on, if you take this medication without eating something, you will get sick to your stomach. So I have to remember in the mornings to eat something, which I never do. I have to remember in the mornings to eat something so that I don't get sick when I take my pill. So what ends up happening is I end up taking my pill late in the afternoon because I don't typically eat in the mornings. And then I ended up taking it later at night because we usually tend to eat a little bit later at night. So when they called, they were like, have you still been taking your pills? How have you been feeling? Have you had any issues? And I'm just like, no, I feel fine. I'm like, everything seems to be back to normal now. The pain is pretty much all but gone. There's just my back has a little bit of a dull pain to it, but I don't know if that's just because I've been sitting on the couch for so long or what. I've been wanting to get back here and diamond paint, but I can't sit in my chair for long periods of time because it makes my back hurt. Not because of any other reason besides whatever was going on with my body. It was just like, yeah, no, you don't need to sit in that chair. After live on Friday, my back was on fire. And I was just like, oh my God, I need to get out of this chair. So I had to go sit up front. And I haven't been back here since because I'm like, I don't want my back to hurt. But sitting in the chair now, I feel perfectly fine. So whatever it was that was messing with my kidneys, apparently, was causing my back to hurt really bad. And now I feel fine. So, yeah. We're going to pull out this 2 because I need like one of them. There we go. So, yeah. So, it was a pretty, decent weekend. Got pretty much everything I needed to get done. Which, in my case, I didn't really have anything to get done besides make videos this week. But I've been dealing with some other issues with other business endeavors. So, like, trying to do that while making my videos this week has been a challenge. I also need to get upstairs and get into the closet and get those kits out so I can like list off what I have and get ready for doing some de-stashing this weekend. Hopefully this weekend. If it's not this weekend, it'll be next weekend because I do have other obligations for this weekend too. So I'm going to try to do them both, but we'll see. Just try not to overdo it because nowadays I don't know if this is like a side effect that's going to last forever or what. But ever since my surgeries back in, September and November of last year, the 2 surgeries I had, ever since then, I'm still extremely tired. Like, oh, hold on, I gotta sneeze. All right, sorry. But yeah, I'm still extremely tired and I don't know why. Sorry, I'm looking for my next letter. I'm looking for letter F. But I'm still extremely tired. I don't know why, but like at any given point in time, if I sit still for too long, I will just start dozing off for no reason. Like I could get like 28 hours of sleep and I would wake up and I'd feel fine. I'd be like, oh, I can take on the day. Sit down for 20 minutes without doing anything. Say I was like watching TV or something and immediately just I'm out. I don't know why. My doctor says it's just a residual because there's been a lot that's happened to me in the last few months. And she's like, with getting COVID and then having one surgery and then a month later having another surgery. And then now just, your kidney stuff. Your body is still healing from those surgeries. I'm like, well, how long does it take to heal? Hurry up. I got stuff to do. like, good God. So I'm trying to take better care of myself and, because, okay, stupid fear. One of my biggest fears in life is that something will happen to me and nobody will be around to feed my kids. Now, will there always be somebody around to feed my kids? Yes. in my brain, is there somebody around to feed my kids? No. So, like, I fear stupid stuff. Like, if something were to happen to me, that somebody wouldn't be around to feed, like Mr. Coffee's just going to forget to feed them or something. So, I've been trying to take better care of myself. And, like, I've actually been out walking and walking with the dogs more. I've been being a little bit more active because the winter makes you lazy, okay? The winter makes you lazy because you don't want to leave the house, especially where I live because of sub-zero temperatures. Yet, no, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to be active. I want to sit on the couch and eat Cheetos and watch bad TV or something. I don't even watch TV. But I don't want to leave my house. So, is that a Y or an F? Is that a Y? I think that's a Y. Hold up, do I have a Y in this kit? Y'all, the confetti. Oh my god, yeah, I do have a Y in this kit. So I need one Y. But yeah, so the winter has made me lazy, and I'm trying to get out of that mode. And this happens every year. I get super lazy in the wintertime, don't want to do anything. And then when summer and stuff comes, I end up getting more active. This year was worse than most because of the surgeries. So, like, I put on a couple more pounds than I'm used to. So I'm like, you know, I need to get this weight off me. And I've been taking the dogs for walks. More walks than usual. And they've been, well, Daisy's been excited about it. Y'all know Killian ain't excited about nothing. But even Killian's doing better. His face is all cleared up now. We're hoping that this is the end of whatever little bacterial infection he had. But the fur has grown back on his face. He looks like a normal dog now. So now when he looks at you, he does look super angry again. So, like, that was the part that I missed the most, was the fact that the super angry dog that I purchased was no longer here, because without the fur on his face, he just looked like a sad dog. Now he looks like an angry dog again, so I'm pretty excited. Where's that? What am I looking for? The question mark. Is the question mark even out here? So yeah, so I really want to take a break from this kit, but I also want to finish this kit. And I'm nowhere near finished, I'm nowhere near finishing this kit because, like, I haven't been working on it a whole lot. Because in my brain, if I just don't work on it, right, it will magically complete itself. I just, when I'm done with my videos and stuff, I have no interest in diamond painting right now. Like, I just want to draw and do other things. The problem is, I was going to sit down and draw to work on my whip and chat today, and then I got too scared to do it. I don't mind drawing for Patreons, but when I try to do it on the channel, it just, I don't know, I freak out. And that's the sad part, is I wanted to transition into doing other stuff, and I can't because the fear of doing it freaks me out. Like, and it's not like, oh, I'm scared that nobody's going to watch it. I don't care if anybody watches it. The fear is just doing it because, like, now I have, like, more than, like, the 100 or some odd people from Patreon watching. Now, like, everybody's watching, and I'm like, I'm waiting for somebody to be like, that's not how you draw that. So, like, I freak out a little bit. I'm a little freaked out. But yeah, Mr. Coffee, oh, we got word yesterday that our rent is going up. Now, when we lived in Pennsylvania, our rent would go up randomly. Like, every couple of years, our rent would go up. It was very rare, though. Like, I think it only happened to us once or twice. And me and Mr. Coffee were in Pennsylvania together for 5 or 6 years. But there's only a handful of times that I can remember that the rent actually went up. Here in Williston, the rent seems to go up every year. So we got a letter on our door. And if you rent or you lease somewhere, you know when you get a letter on your door, it's never good. It's never like, hi, we just love having you here. We wanted to just let you know that we love having you here. No. It's always something bad. So I got a letter on my door, and it was flipped backwards. That's the sad part. It was flipped backwards. And again, my brain, the way it works, I'm sitting there going, hold up, did I pay the rent this month? I think I did. Now, we usually pay our rent 2 weeks before it's due. So it usually gets paid on between the 20th and the 25th is when our rent gets paid for the next month. And so I was like, did I pay my bill? Oh, God. So I reach for the paper, and I look at my next door neighbor's house, and I notice that they have a paper on their door too, but their paper isn't backwards. Their paper is forward. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of look around the neighborhood and notice that everybody else has papers on their door too. So I'm like, then why do I have two? Because I looked at my door and there was another paper that was faced up on the door. So I was like, are they kicking me out? Like, is this a pink slip? Here, the one paper was just talking about the portal that we use to pay our bill with. Like, it was just telling us, hey, by the way, even though your rent's not late until the 5th, if you try to pay it if you pay it after the 4th, you can't use the pay portal. You have to physically come into the office. And I'm like, I usually just use the website, but okay, whatever. So I'm not worried about that. Now, they did tell me, because they got a new website or a new app that you can pay your bill on. And they told me that I was paying my rent too early. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, have you ever had your landlord tell you that you can't pay your rent online because you're paying it too early? And I'm like, who does that? Who's just sitting out here like, look, no, you have to pay it on the 1st of the month. You cannot pay it any earlier than that. What? No, just let me pay my bill. Like, let me pay it. And I'm a stickler for paying things ahead of time. Now, sometimes that falls short, like with my electric bill. Let me talk about the electric bill real quick, because the way my electric bill is set up right now, I don't forget to pay it. I think I explained this in a live one day where I was telling you guys how they changed the electric bill website too, and now you have to go through 7 different confirmation screens before you get to the last one, and then it's like, confirm here. And at the top of it, it says confirmation, but if you read the full thing, it says review confirmation page. It just says in small letters, review, big letters, confirmation, small letters, page. And I'm thinking, oh, that's the confirmation page, boom. Because usually I'm trying to do multiple things at once and not paying full attention. Well, there's been twice now where we've gotten emails saying that the bill was late. And I was like, what do you mean the bill was late? I paid this thing. And then I realized, oh, snap, I didn't press confirm on that last page, did I? Mother chicken. So then I would just go in and pay it. No big deal. The money was already in there because I already tried to pay it. So I'm just like, okay, well, what was it? Wednesday, I want to say it was Tuesday or Wednesday last week. Mr. Coffee lets me know that we got the letter in the mail, or not the mail, but we got the letter in his email because he gets the email for it, saying that the bill was late. And I'm like, how many days is it late? Because I swear I just paid that. And he's like, it's like 2 days late. And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, what? He's like, hold up. Did you forget to hit the confirmation button again? God dang it. So I go in and I go pay my electric bill. Not thinking anything else of it. I pay the bill. What else do I need to think about, right? Wrong. Right. So I'm sitting there on Friday. I'm crocheting on my blanket, minding my own business. Orion decides that he's going to go back outside again. No fighting this time. He wasn't trying to fight anybody this time. But he goes outside and he sees the mailman. The mailman hands him the mail, says, hey, can you take this up to your mom? Orion goes, okay, grabs the mail, comes and brings it to me. And I look at it, and a lot of it's junk mail from people. Hey, you have good credit? Come get this credit card so we can mess up your credit. And I'm just like, nope. Immediately when I see those offers, I throw them in the trash. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not getting any more credit cards. I already have 2, and those are emergency credit cards. So yeah, no. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right. And I see something from our electric company in the packet, or the pile of mail that Ryan gave me. So I was like, oh, this must be the notice saying that the bill's late or something, because they probably sent one out before we had a chance to actually pay it. Now, me being stupid and not realizing a few things. One, I have paperless billing. So why would they send me something in the mail? Even if they were going to shut my services off, they would send me a email. They wouldn't send it in the mail because I opted for paperless. 2, yeah, I think that was, hold on. Sorry. I keep getting interrupted by people asking me questions. But yeah, 2, normally if we have a problem with the electric company, again, they will send stuff through the email. They are never going to send us out, like they don't usually send us out paper. Like, we don't get paper bills and stuff anymore. So I'm sitting there going, well, why did they, like I said, I thought they sent it out just because they sent it out early. I'm like, well, that's hella early. Like, they must have sent it out, like, that first day it was late or something. And so I go to open it up. Y'all, why this bill said we owed $1,300. And I was like, what the flip? Y'all, there was all kinds of curse words flying. Luckily, those kids were outside. The ferrets were even scared because I was yelling and cursing. And I was like, mother flip my check. What the? Y'all, I was flipping out. I messaged Mr. Coffee. I'm like, I just paid this motherfucking bill. Why is this bill so motherfucking high? Unplug all this Scentsy crap. Tell me that this Scentsy crap is running up my electric bill. One, it does not run up your electric bill at all. I've gotten numerous bills since I've started Scentsy and since I've had my burners going, and it literally does not run up your bill hardly at all. So I was just like, not thinking clearly, and I didn't know what it was, but I couldn't figure out why our bill was so freaking high. I was like, turn off the garage heater, unplug all this Scentsy burners. What the hell is going on? Why is our bill so high? I messaged Mr. Coffee and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, that seems to be our bill, but why is it so high? And I'm like, exactly. Why is it so high? Here, come to find out, after 20 minutes of me and him fussing back and forth about this electric bill, him claiming that I didn't pay it, me claiming that he didn't tell me that the bills were coming in and going, you need to have them email me the bill since I'm the one that pays the bills. I don't even know why you get the email. That was a stupid idea, but we need to make sure that they're emailing me to let me know when the bill is due, because them telling you obviously isn't working because our bill keeps getting late because you're not telling me, because he'll wait till, Mr. Coffee will literally wait till the last minute and then be like, oh, by the way, the electric bill's due. You mother chicken. So, as we're fussing back and forth, Mr. Coffee stops fussing and I'm like, what? He's like, take a look at that bill again. He goes, is that 1 month or 2? I'm like, it says 2 months, but still, $1,300? Our bill's never been this high. Like, what the hell are we doing that the bill's this high? I was about to tell the kids that they can't watch TV at night anymore, like all this stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? Y'all, after taking a second glance at the bill, as I'm realizing that it's 2 bills, I also realized that that's not my husband's name on the bill. So our neighbor, sometimes we get their mail, and see what happened was, right? Apparently we got their electric bill and also their credit card bill. I didn't open the credit card bill, but I did open the electric bill because of the fact that we did have problems with it earlier that week. And when I opened it, I just assumed it was ours, because why would the mailman give me somebody else's bills? Well, apparently he didn't realize that he had given me their bills, or their mail. So, like, accidents happen, whatever. But literally, I was getting ready to have a whole conniption fit because I thought that they had, jacked up our bill. Here, it was my neighbor's bill, and I was like, ooh, oh, God. Then I felt bad because I opened up my neighbor's mail. But it gets worse, because now I have to then go over next door and very embarrassingly let my neighbors know, I apologize for opening your mail. I thought it was mine. So they're going to know that I know that their electric bill's behind, and I'm feeling some type of way. Don't worry, I did give it to them. Luckily, they weren't home, but their son was home. So I was like, hey, dude, could you get this to your mom? And he's like, yeah, I'll give it to her. He's like, it's open. I'm like, I tell her I accidentally opened it because it was given to me, and I thought it was my bill. And he's like, oh, okay. So I'm hoping that they got it. Good luck to them. Like, yikes. Oopsies. Mr. Coffee was like, hold up. That wasn't even our bill? I'm like, no, dude, it was a neighbor's bill. He's like, dude, what the hell are they doing? I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. It ain't none of my business. I just know I ain't got to pay for it. That's all I know. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about how much money you spend or what you're doing at your house. I ain't got to pay that bill. That's all I worried about. So I was like, all right, continue on with your everyday life now. So, yeah, like, the electric bill is already, like, with the winter and stuff, the electric bill is high, of course, because running the heat. We're not used to paying heat because of the apartment we lived at before here. They paid for the heat because they would have you turn the heater up to a certain temperature so that the pipes don't burst in your apartment. So, yeah. And so when we got here, it was a culture shock to go back to paying for your heat again. Because, good God. Let me tell you right now, the heating bill in the winter here. No. And then they want to talk about they raising the rent. I'm like, look, listen, I'm going to need y'all to take several seats. Why are you raising the rent? Why? And the lady's like, well, the housing market says that our apartments are worth. I'm like, do they know that y'all don't really have good insulation in these places? Do they know the trouble that your residents have to go through? I'm like, do they know that half these buildings are pretty much, half the stuff in them is broken and not working? Like, I don't think there's a neighbor around us. Like, we have one of the best townhouses because it's one of the few that actually has almost all the stuff in it is working. a lot of the other places around here, because this used to be staff housing. And what that means is the oil field guys would live in these houses in like 4s and 5s. So 4 or 5 men would live in one of these houses. So a lot of the stuff in the house is broken. And, or they just like, they did the landlord special where they went and painted over everything. So like if you look on certain spots on my wall, you will see bright white paint next to beige paint. I'm like, y'all really did the bare minimum getting these houses together, didn't you? And they want to charge an arm and a leg for them. And now you talking about you raising the rent. And apparently a couple of the neighbors are staging a revolt or something against the landlords because half the stuff in their house doesn't work. And I'm like, well, why didn't y'all just call maintenance? That's what we pay for. We pay for maintenance. And they have to fix it. And if they don't fix it by a certain time, you don't got to pay your rent. Boom, you're welcome. Like, I don't understand why y'all didn't know this by now. So, like, my next door neighbor guy, like, I know him and his wife aren't paying rent right now because, like, their dishwasher is broken. Their dish disposal is broken. 2 of their toilets don't work. Like, they had mold in their bathroom when they moved in. And I was like, they didn't even bother to clean your house? And he's like, did they clean y'all's? I'm like, yeah. Like, they shampooed the carpets and everything. And he's like, yeah, no, they didn't clean ours. And I was like, oh, dude, that sucks. So, like, before they moved in, they had to clean their own apartment. And I'm like, that right there would have been taking some money off my rent. Because, look, the way my life is set up, you ain't about to make me move into a place and you can't even clean the carpets properly. So, yeah. So, it was a pretty decent weekend. Like I said, I didn't do a whole lot of anything. I did get to crochet and get to the halfway point on my blanket. And Mr. Coffee got to run around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to figure out how to do all the things. I'm pretty sure he's still tired from the weekend. He ums and uhs this week. Ugh, God, I hate it. Oh, there's not even a drill on there. What am I doing? Oh my gosh. But I'm happy at the progress that I'm making today on this kit, even though it's taken me all day to get this progress. Earlier today, I started recording the whip and chat, and I don't know what I was doing, but at some point I must have paused, because I will pause to take and stand up, because sitting down in this chair for an hour, yeah, no. I will stand up because I start to get stiff, and like I need to move around. Like I can't just sitting in one spot is driving me crazy. Like it's driving me insane. So I like to try to get up and move around and stuff. And I literally sat here probably for a good hour or 2 just diamond painting a little bit because I haven't done any all weekend. And I wanted to have some kind of progress from when I came back from my whip and chat. So that, and I'm already like, I'm getting to that point where I've been working on this for too long. And I just want it to be done and over with so I can work on a round. I was going to work on the Raven. And like I said, you might, if I didn't say it already, you might see the Raven on Friday. I don't like doing 2 kits, but I really want to do a square or a round. And I feel like if I stop working on this kit, I'm going to get like 1,000 people that are just going to be like, where's the custom? And I'm like, y'all, stop it. Obviously, it didn't go anywhere. Like, I'll tell you where the custom is. You don't have to like, oh my gosh, why aren't you working on the custom? Because I'm tired of the custom, okay? Like, I want to work on a round. I want to work on a round. And I got that Raven kit in from Enabler's Outpost, and I really, really want to work on that kit because the blues and purples in that kit are giving me life right now. And it's been a while since I've been like super, super excited about a kit. And it's not a big kit, so like I should be able to finish it in a decent amount of time if I actually work on it. The problem is when I'm done with videos, yeah, no, this kit would just sit here just like this until I come back to the next video for the next video. Like literally sit here just like this because I don't typically sit back here anymore. I will go sit up front. And by the time I go pick up the kids from school, usually I'm doing something with either both of them or just Orion, because Maggie has, now that it's gotten warmer out, Maggie goes outside like every day, which is great because she runs out all that energy, and by bedtime she's actually tired. And so it makes her less mischievous around the house, which is great for my sanity, because Lord knows that Maggie will have you questioning your sanity. Right now, Maggie is, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Maggie's bed used to be a bunk bed. So her and Orion's bed, if you put them together, make a bunk bed. We just never put them together. And it was cheap. It was just cheaper to get the bunk bed and keep them separated than buying 2 separate beds, which is stupid, but whatever. Right now, Maggie is, since we still have to call to get her EKG, something done, the brain scan for her to see if she still is exhibiting signs of epilepsy or not. But we've decided that we are going to let her sleep in her bed normally again. If you didn't know, because of the fact that she has epilepsy, for a while there, she was just sleeping on a mattress on the floor, because if something were to happen while she was sleeping, we didn't want her to fall and hurt herself getting out of bed, or roll out of bed by accident. And Maggie's been in a bed pretty much with a rail on it almost her entire life. She was without a rail for a while, but what happens is she falls out of bed. So we just put the rail back on because we got tired of hearing the loud thumps, thinking something was going on, and here it was just her falling out of bed. And then she'd wake up the next morning sore and couldn't figure out why, and we were like, it's probably because you decided to swan dive off your bed. So we, last night, went up and we pushed her bed around so that the rail is pointing towards the wall, and now she has the open bed. So, because she's 9 years old, and at this point, she hasn't had a seizure in 2 years, and I feel like she never really got the chance to learn what it's like to sleep in a normal bed. And last time, if you remember, when we did have her sleeping in a normal bed, she actually fell out of the bed quite a few times, and one of the times we lost her because she fell out of the bed and then rolled up under the bed. So we're like, okay, she's 9. It's time to try this again. Well, sure enough, luckily we went to go check on her before we went to bed, because right when we went to go check on her, she was essentially laying on the seam of the mattress. She was on the edge, okay? One good fart, sneeze, or burp, she would have fell right off that bed. So Mr. Coffee went in and like shuffled her back over to the center of the bed. And yeah, and we put down some stuffed animals and stuff on the floor right where the bed is, so that if she does fall out, she's falling into a pile of stuffed animals. So, there's that. But I think I'm going to call it quits here for today, because I really need to get up and start walking around. Plus, I need to go to the P.O. box to get whatever this package is that, was too big to fit in the box, which I have an idea of what it is. It's not even something for me. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got a lot of work done. Sorry about all the ums. I don't know what's wrong with me. Either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful, fabulous day. And if it give me a second, I'll move this stuff over so you can see how much we got done. So we're working on that area there. We got this area done already. Look how shiny the drills are. If I can just fix this, everything else looks fine. And Bev, I don't know what this bruise is on your hand, but it's okay. There's purples there for some reason. So yeah, so that's it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, you know how we do. Leave those down in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to, or why do I always say we? I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But with that said, please remember to stay safe, stay caffeinated, and stay cool. But with that said, please remember to stay safe, stay caffeinated, stay crafty, and always remember to be kind to others, be courteous, and be cool. Bye, guys.